It was a long time ago now when I first started playing golf, and there are a number of things I wish I'd known back then that I would have implemented to my own game that would have made me better at golf. In this video, I'm going to show you the 7 things that you need to know when you first start playing golf that are going to make you a lot better at this game. So number 1 is learn the basics. When you first start playing golf, it can be quite complicated. How do you hold the golf club? How do you stand? How do you swing? Well, the best way of doing that is investing in some golf lessons with a PGA Golf Pro. That's the best way. It's going to cost a little bit of money, but you just need a couple of lessons to get you going, either individually or a different option, which is also a really good option. Go for a group session. Now, group lessons are great because it costs a little bit less and you'll be in a group of people who are like-minded, are in the same stage as you. And often if you make friends in those circles, you can go and practice together and play together. Now, if you don't want to have lessons, that's okay, because now YouTube is around. It wasn't around when I first started playing, and it is a wealth of knowledge instructions videos, not only from myself, but other PGA Golf Pros. Now, I did actually create a series of videos a number of years ago, which is called the Complete Golf Swing Guide. I'll link it up there in the corner. It gives you everything from grip, stance, posture, and how you swing the golf club. It is a perfect beginner's guide. So make sure you check it out, and also maybe like and subscribe if you enjoy it as well. Warning, there's one thing to avoid, however. Make sure you don't take loads of advice off playing partners. As much as they might be good golfers, they might not be able to diagnose your actual issues or your faults. I'm sure they'll try in their best way to help you, but sometimes it doesn't always help. Seek professional advice, that's the best way of doing it. Point number 2, the most important club in your bag isn't that, it's actually this. Learn to love your putter. Believe it or not, when you're playing golf, use this club more than any other club in your bag. And what's great about putting, it's almost a level playing field. Doesn't matter your athleticism, it doesn't know how strong you are, it doesn't know about any past experiences. Putting is all about 3 things: pace, control. Get really good when you're putting to judge distances short and long. That's a simple way of avoiding 3 putts. You can practice that, there's drills to do that by just making sure you get really good at your pace control. Number 2, face control. Control where this putter is aiming. Make sure it's not too far to the right because the ball squirt that way, not too far to the left because the ball squirt off to the left. Make sure you have really good control over the face. That way the ball's going to roll towards your designated target and it's going to give you a much better chance of getting it in the hole. And the 3rd thing that's important for putting is learn how to read greens. Whether the putt is uphill, it's going to go slower. Whether it's downhill, it's obviously going to go faster. Whether the slope is from right to left or left to right, and how much that's going to affect the actual direction and the roll of your golf ball. Get really good at reading greens. It's a skill within a skill, but if you can get good at it, it's one that will last you forever in your golfing journey. Number 3, it's very rare you get a perfect lie. So don't practice perfect lies all the time. I'll see golfers either going to the driving range on a perfect mat, hitting golf shots. As you know, on the golf course, that's not always going to be the case. And this ties in quite nicely, even for situations around the green. If you've got the facilities to use a chipping green or spend 10 minutes on a green on a golf course, if it's quiet, I'll see golfers too often putting the golf ball on like the most perfect lie, almost teeing it up. But let's be honest, that's not reality. The reality is your golf ball is sometimes going to end up in horrible little situations around the green, whether the ball is buried, there's not much grass around it, certainly in the off season, the winter season. Practice those shots. Practice shots in a bunker or on a sloping lie. It's really important to test yourself, and also have fun with those situations. Golf can be tricky and it can throw many different situations at you. So make sure you adapt to them, have fun with them, and you'll become much better because of it. Number 4, take a little bit of time to learn some basic rules and etiquette. And that's not me being kind of snooty and saying you need to know all the rules of golf. Just having an understanding of a few simple rules that are going to help you enjoy the game more. It's going to help the people that you play with enjoy spending time with you when you're out on the golf course learning. So important. Things like out of bounds stakes. What do you do when the ball goes out of bounds? Or what happens when your golf ball goes into a water hazard? Really simple things that you can learn that are going to help you develop your skills anyway. And also things like etiquette. I mean, it goes without saying, no talking when players are hitting the shots. Making sure you don't stand on the line of a player's putt. And even number 3, putting your bag between the green and the next tee to help speed up play. You know what, for more information on rules and etiquette, a really simple guide, I'll put a link up here in the corner or a link in the description below. Just a little bit of understanding is honestly going to make it more enjoyable for you and the people you're playing with. It is important. Now you might have noticed so far I've not mentioned anything about equipment. It brings us quite nicely on to number 5. Equipment, when you first start, doesn't massively matter. If it's borrowed equipment, if it's a hand-me-down from a granddad or a friend or a family relative, as long as you've got something to use to go and practice, to go and play golf with, that's all you need when you first start. As you start to develop, you might look at investing in some clubs that are going to help you, that have got a little bit more forgiveness. But one thing I definitely think you need to be aware of is don't get sucked into brand claims. Big brands, big manufacturers that make these expensive golf clubs spend a lot of money on marketing. They want to convince you that their latest and greatest gear is going to help you massively. And as much as it might help a tiny bit, it's not going to change your life. Now you might have seen from one of my videos, I'll link it up here in the corner, I actually went out and bought a package set for £79 and they did the job. It meant I could go out and play golf. Doesn't matter what clubs you are, don't be embarrassed when you first start, even if they are super old, as long as you've got something to use, that's what's really important. So number 6, and I think this again is really important, don't worry about what people think. Now as a new golfer, you're going to be thinking that everybody's watching you. Like let's say here today, there's a few golfers here on the putting green, everybody's focusing on their own game. They're not taking much notice of other players around them. And if they are, and if they're judging you, they're not very nice people. They're not really people that you want to spend time with anyway. So don't worry, nobody's judging you. Go out there, enjoy it. For example, we've all been out on the road and we've seen a learner driver and sometimes they'll stall the car. And you don't get annoyed if you sat behind them because everyone's learned at some stage. If you do get annoyed about that, by the way, that tells me more about you than it does about the learner driver. So take that into consideration when you go out on the golf course. Yeah, you're going to hit a couple of bad shots. So what? Everyone has been there. Everyone's done that. And a lot of established golfers still do that. So don't worry, don't be conscious, go out there and enjoy it and have fun. And the final point, have fun when you are learning golf. Golf is tough, it is. To the point where it's been around for hundreds of years, nobody's ever completed golf. Just bear that in mind. So it's going to be tough, it's going to be challenging, but make sure that you are doing it in a more relaxed, friendly way. Make friends. Like some of my best friends I've met in golf. Make sure you take on the surrounding areas. I mean, you're out in nature, beautiful golf courses, or wherever it may be you're practicing. Take that all into consideration. Also, remember, don't be too hard on yourself. Again, because it is a tough challenge, it's a tough sport, go easy on yourself. Be your own best friend when you first start playing golf. Again, I wish I'd had this information back then because I was a bit too hard on myself. So be friendly to yourself. It's tough, but most importantly, golf is a sport. It's a hobby for many of you watching. Make sure it is number 1, it's fun.